Good evening and welcome to CYC News for the 15th of December 2019 and the 5th of Kiak 17:36 a.m. I'm Susie Michael. In today's headlines, Trump's meeting with Lavrov is not a sign of cooling in the US-Russia relations. The UN says it has evidence Iran was shooting to kill protesters. Volcano deaths highlight dangers of adventure tourism. Canadian firefighters head to Australia to help battle bushfires. The CDC is urging consumers to discard their salad kits after another E. coli outbreak. And the 100 seconds that saved Liverpool's Champions League season. But first to the United States, where a meeting between President Donald Trump and Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov in Washington took place on Tuesday. According to the Kremlin, it was a significant meeting but did not signal a thaw in relations between the two countries. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said, "Of course, this is an important moment. The very fact that the Russian minister was received by the US president is an important point, of course. It's another matter that thus far we can't talk about any positive shifts in our bilateral relations, but such contacts are important." Peskov's comments come after the meeting was held on the same day Democrats in Congress unveiled articles of impeachment against President Trump. Trump praised Tuesday's meeting as very good. His tweet made no mention of Russia's war with Ukraine, but it did say he and Lavrov had discussed election meddling. However, later at a news conference at the Russian embassy, Lavrov wouldn't answer directly when asked about the White House claim that Trump had warned him about Russia interfering with the 2020 elections. The United Nations says that it has video evidence appearing to show Iranian security forces shooting to kill protesters during the latest wave of demonstrations in the country. In a statement, UN High Commissioner for Human Rights Michelle Bachelet said they must undertake prompt, independent and impartial investigations into all violations that have taken place, including the killing of protesters. Iranians took to the streets in mid-November, shortly after the government announced an increase in fuel prices by as much as 300%. The exact death toll in the protests remains unclear as the government has withheld these numbers. The UN Human Rights Office said it had information suggesting that at least 208 people were killed, including 13 women and 12 children, and that at least 7,000 people had reportedly been arrested across the country. The government imposed a nationwide internet shutdown for over a week. Over to New Zealand now, where a specialist team has recovered 6 bodies from the White Island volcano 4 days after it erupted, while 47 people were visiting. The recovery on Friday morning local time brings the official death toll from Monday's eruption to at least 15. Authorities are still working to recover 2 more bodies, including one that was spotted in the water near the shore off the island. The deaths of the tourists have raised questions over whether tour companies are taking enough precautions to keep visitors safe and whether tourists are aware of the risks. Bill Maguire, Emirates Professor of Geophysical and Climate Hazards at University College London, said White Island was very similar to Stromboli, with seismic activity taking the form of small blasts rather than major eruptions. He said because White Island is only a couple of kilometres across, visitors are close to the vent and under threat even if there is a small explosion. White Island is a popular destination for visitors, with tour groups heading off on boat trips every day. It's described as one of the world's most accessible active volcanoes on the website of White Island Tours, which offers ocean cruises nearby as well as guided tours depending on the volcanic alert activity. Back home to Australia now, and as deadly bushfires continue to burn across the country, a delegation of Canadian wildfire experts has embarked on a month-long trip to offer aid during the crisis. The group of 21 wildfire suppression experts left Vancouver on Tuesday and are not expected to return until early January, meaning they will be thousands of miles away from home for the holidays. The contingent is responding to calls for aids by Australia's National Council for Fire and Emergency Services. On Twitter, Canadian Interagency Forest Fire Centre said CIFFC and all 13 of its member agencies are prepared to respond with further assistance if requested. Our thoughts remain focused on our colleagues and the citizens of Australia as they continue to manage through this difficult time. As of Wednesday, the New South Wales Rural Fire Service reported there are 129 bushfires burning across the state, 72 of which are uncontained. South East Australia is reeling from a series of catastrophic bushfires driven by high temperatures, low humidity, and one of the worst droughts in decades. 7 of the Canadian experts are from British Columbia's Wildfire Service and include 2 highly trained air tanker supervisors and a heavy equipment branch director. Other members of the contingent come from fire management teams in Alberta, Manitoba, Ontario, Saskatchewan, and Canada's National Park Services, Parks Canada. To some health news, and the CDC is warning customers about a multi-state outbreak of E. coli infections linked to Fresh Express Sunflower Crisp chopped salad kits. As of December 9, 8 people from 3 states were infected with the strain identified in the outbreak. 3 were hospitalised, including 1 person who developed kidney failure. There were no deaths. This outbreak is caused by a different strain of E. coli other than the current outbreak linked to romaine lettuce grown in the Salines, California region, which has over 100 reported cases of infection. Consumers, restaurants and retailers should not sell or consume any of the salad kits with a best before date up to and including December 7, 2019. If you do have the product, the CDC says to throw it away, even if some of the salad has already been eaten and nobody got sick. The health agency also recommends washing and sanitising drawers or refrigerator shelves where the product was stored. And in sport, for nearly an hour it was a tense and nervy affair, and then in the space of 100 seconds, Liverpool exhaled a huge sigh of relief. Nerves frayed as Saleh missed chance after chance. They frayed even more as Red Bull Salzburg frequently pierced a Liverpool defence that has struggled to keep clean sheets all season. The current Champions League holders needed a draw against Salzburg to guarantee their place in the last 16, but the Austrian side didn't make things easy for the Reds. It wasn't until 2 seconds after the goals in as many minutes from Naby Keita and Mohamed Saleh that they eventually secured a 2-0 win and progressed to the round of 16. And that's all for CYC News. A reminder that you can watch this news bulletin again throughout the week on YouTube. I'm Susie Michael from the CYC studios in Sydney, Australia. Have a good night.